Welcome back to the I Drink From Skulls podcast. It's your host, Matt Smith here. Today we have a very special guest with us. He's the terrorizer in Tennessee. He's the weapon in Wisconsin. He is the chosen one in Ohio. He's a family man. He owns 3 franchises. He closes at 78%. Mr. Dave Martin. How are you, sir?
How y'all doing?
We got there. It took me a few goes to get there, but we got there. How are you, my good man?
Oh, man, doing great. How about yourself?
I felt like I got a good intro going there.
That was a very nice intro. Thank you.
So, my man, who the hell is Dave Martin?
You're the terrorizer from Tennessee. I love it.
You love that one?
Let's go. I drink from skulls. Drink from the skulls of my enemies.
So, Dave, who are you, my good man, for the viewers?
Well, my name's Dave. Hi. Little background. Born and raised in a small town in northeastern Pennsylvania. At the age 6, moved to Canada for a couple years. Went oot to boot the hoose there. Moved down to Ohio, when was that, 95, and have resided there ever since. Used to be a chef. That's what I went to school for, is chef for culinary arts and business management.
Nice.
In 2012, I actually landed my dream job. I was the executive chef of a 5-star catering company. I lost my job the day after I got my job. So I'll make the story real short. First day of the job, I get there and, I was thinking I was going to have a whole day's worth of work, introducing myself to the staff, figuring out who everybody is, what their strong points are, whatnot. I was wrong. It was just literally filling out all my legal paperwork, my tax forms, work forms, and everything in between. So, they let me go home, probably about 10:30 in the morning. I got there at 7. So 10:30 in the morning, had the rest of the day to myself. My wife was 10 days away from our scheduled birth date of my firstborn. So she had a honey-do list, from here to Mexico. And instead of doing that, I decided that the dead ash tree in the backyard was way more important, and I needed to trim the trees because my infant was going to get killed by the dead branches falling. It was stupid. But I ended up falling out of the tree, breaking my arm in 26 places, including my elbow and my shoulder. Then through that process, I had 3 botched surgeries. There was a point in time they told me I was going to lose my arm. I did not have a job at this point. Was without a job for about 6 months. Brand new newborn baby. Arm was still technically broken, and money was running short. So my wife actually got a job with the company that I own 3 franchises of, which is LEI Home Enhancements, based out of Cincinnati. They are a faith-based company. And every bit of that is 100%. My wife asked, hey, is there anything you guys can do to have my husband come in to make a few bucks? Bills are piling up. We just got slapped with a $250,000 medical bill because I didn't have insurance because I just started a new job.
Wow.
And that takes 6 weeks before the insurance kicks in. So I was uninsured when I broke, and they had me come in to do phone calls. I was just going to be calling appointments that had canceled or rescheduled and trying to reschedule them. That never actually took place. So in order for me to, learn about the company, learn about the product, they told me to just start a training class. And I started the training class and excelled. There were no further positions ahead of the one that I had just started. So I spent pretty much all my time there learning what my managers were doing, learning what their bosses were doing so that I could work my way up the ranks. And that was January 10th, 2013. Fast forward to today, I have worked every single position at LEI, and I have not been trained on any of them. I'm self-taught. I've watched and learned throughout the whole process. I'm a firm believer. If you want to grow and excel, be the first person there and the last person to leave every day. It takes 10,000 hours to master a skill or to be considered a master of a skill. And where I was in life financially, I did not have the luxury of taking my time.
Yeah.
So as we are today, I've literally worked every position except for one, which is the position my wife holds at LEI. She holds the highest position next to the two owners. And I don't want that job to save my life.
Mrs. Martin is the boss. Gotcha.
This past December, her and I merged her franchises and my franchises, and we became business partners, which is probably one of the best moves we've ever done ever. I know everything and anything there is to go from the sales to the marketing to the installation, and she knows everything on the financials, the loan process that we have, schedules and scheduling and schedulers, everything on the back end that I have really no interest in knowing or learning. I mean, I know it, I just don't like it, so it is a pain in the ass to do.
Yeah.
So where I fall short, she picks up, and where she falls short, I pick up.
Yeah, nice.
So we're kind of a dynamic duo there, and that's a
Okay.
little bit about me.
I love that, man. I love that. You
I also
were
have
faced
the most
with...
I also have the most glorious beard in the Midwest.
I was
So-
going to mention that, actually. It is quite tremendous.
Thank you. Years and years
So-
and years of work and dedication have gotten me to this point.
It didn't happen overnight. I love that. So yeah, I guess you're not a fan of the new craze that's going around, the quiet quitting, where you do the bare minimum and expect to get the best result. You went all in, focused on every different area of the business, and that's led you to have some success, no doubt about it. And we'll dig into that shortly. I remember, because you and I go back quite some time now, probably 5 years, I would say 4 or 5 years. And I know that
maybe
you've
so.
actually been the trainer of the franchise. Like, you used to train, you were the national trainer for the franchises
trainer, yeah.
of all the LEI home enhancements. Is that right?
Yeah, national sales trainer. Yeah, that
That's
was
awesome,
my
man.
absolute favorite position.
So what did that look like? Like, how did that play out? Love to hear more about that.
So we have a standard of if our sales reps, any amount of jobs they get into, they need to close at least 40% of them to be considered okay. There's okay, there's good, and there's great. 40% close is okay. I have a track record of taking 40 or less and turning them into 60, 70, 80% closers.
That's phenomenal.
It's not a hard task to accomplish. However, it all depends on the individual. So, I can't take someone that's not willing to work and turn them into a superstar, But if you're willing to work,
Yes.
willing to listen, and willing to apply what I have to say and have to help with, you're going to be awesome,
And is that the main sort of thing that, like, the criteria for success that you've seen from all the different people you've trained? Is it the attitude, or are there other things that they need as well?
It's mainly the attitude. Confidence is key. But if you do pay attention and listen and apply what I'm telling you, it's almost impossible not to have the confidence behind it. I will go almost too far in depth on certain aspects of our products or the installation. Sometimes, I lose my crowd. I lose my person I'm training because, it's not that exciting. However, they start to get the gist of more information and having that extra knowledge when the tough questions come up, in the home or with the customer, they can riddle it off real quick. And that just shows, and they can riddle it off with confidence because they trust me and they believe what I'm telling them. And, I back all my stuff up with factual evidence. I'm not going to tell them a lie that they then turn and tell the homeowners a lie, and then it doesn't come to fruition. And now homeowners pissed at them and they're pissed at me. That doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. Full transparency.
Well, that
honesty.
way they also lose confidence in me and confidence in what I've already told them. So,
That makes sense.
fudging any of the stuff to make it sound more believable or more enticing, if it's not true, it's going to end up biting you in the ass, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. I've seen that just even in my industry, the advertising and marketing, when you're open and honest and you call out the biggest things that they're thinking about, the elephants in the room, you get a lot of respect for that. You build trust that way. So that makes sense to me.
Brother, I have
I guess
seen
just
it
quickly for all the viewers,
firsthand.
what was that, sir?
That I have seen it in your industry
What was that?
first.
Yeah. Yeah. You sure have, actually. We'll focus on that in a minute. For the viewers and subscribers, for full reference, LEI Home Enhancements, retail windows, siding, doors, some roofing as well. Is that right?
Yep. Well, roofing. We're getting into fencing and solar, various locations.
Yeah, nice.
Solar hasn't quite taken off in the Midwest. It's really more of an East Coast, West Coast luxury.
Yep.
So the prices just don't make sense here in the Midwest yet.
Yeah. And how many franchises are in the LEI?
It's between 28 and 31.
Damn.
I can't
So
quite remember
very good
which
coverage across the
number
US.
it is.
Yeah, nice. So it's not a small operation, that's for sure. It's a top 500
Yeah.
remodeling
we're
company.
I believe we're in the top 50 of the remodeler 500, which
There you go. We just 10x'd it right there. So that's great.
Sells.
What are some of the struggles that you've seen in business in the changing landscape this year?
Well, the economy is so uncertain at this very moment that it has people nervous. You know, people don't want to spend money because, and to be quite honest, it makes sense too. You know, we've had massive inflation, yet payroll hasn't caught up to the inflation. So, you know, where you were sitting here making, $50,000 a year and things were affordable, things are no longer affordable and you're still making $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner that payroll is going to catch up to inflation. It's usually a 6-month, inflation goes up 6 months later, so does payroll. So we're right at the cusp.
Gotcha. That's pretty tough. What are you doing to try and overcome that and still get people the end result that they want? Because people do need what you sell. They need their windows upgraded. They need those energy savings and things like that. How are you guys sort of approaching that?
I'm really just trying to make it make sense for the homeowners.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, you have 20 windows in your home. You're gonna be dumping out a pretty huge chunk of change. What is my return on investment? And there's a couple different ways you can look at it. I know from my own personal experience, I put in, we bought our house 3 years ago. It needed a lot of work, and finally we got the windows this past summer, put all new windows in. If we had used, we're on propane for fuel. So if we had used the amount of propane that we used last year, this year, I would have spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000 to $7,000 in fuel. I didn't spend a single penny in fuel, as my tank from November stayed full all winter long because I just wasn't using the same amount to heat and cool my house. I know last summer, our energy costs dropped a couple $100 a month just from AC use. So I can use that as my own testimony. However, not everybody's going to fall into that same situation. We had a very inefficient house and made it more efficient. However, not everybody's house is as inefficient as mine was. I sit down, I take their utility bills. Energy costs for heating and cooling roughly equate to about 40% of your energy bills.
Yeah,
so
right.
I take that 40% and, I break down the math on it and I'd show them, this is how much of that 40% you're going to be saving on a bare minimum. Now, I always show them the minimum because I like to under-promise and over-deliver. And the last thing I want is somebody coming back being like, you said I was going to save $110 a month. I only saved $60. That doesn't make anybody happy, especially when, they have a huge amount invested into it. So I show them the lowest. I also show them, resale values. So all of our products come with transferable warranty. When you go to sell your home, you're going up against multiple homes in your area that are also for sale. So how do you set yourself apart from the rest? Well, you have upgraded products. You give them a turnkey property they don't have to put any effort or money into after dropping, let's just say it's $250,000 house. You're dropping 30 grand just for, your down payment, 30 to 50. That pretty much depletes most people's savings. They've saved up for this amount of money. They spend it, Now they have a new loan on their credit, so they're not going to be able to have a huge loan at that. So it's going to be pretty hard to get them financed. So they're going to have to sit there and wait a couple months to a year or two until they have a good payment history before the credit companies are going to want to, or the lending companies are going to want to, lend them any more than enough to get a pack of gum. So your house already having upgraded roof, upgraded windows, upgraded siding, the exterior of your house is turnkey. Plus, you get transferable warranties with all of those products. You just got your house off the market in 10 days versus 10 months because they're going up against everybody else. So how long were you paying your mortgage versus how long would you have been paying your mortgage, So let's say your mortgage is $1,500 a month. That's $15,000 over 10 months that you just saved because your house is not on the market. I have pretty factual evidence from Realtor.com and a few other different realtor magazines and whatnot that kind of really lay out and prove the logistics behind, selling an upgraded house versus a house that needs work done to it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so you really make it make sense for them.
Yeah, and then on top of that, on average, you can put 10 to 15% of the actual cost of the products back into your selling price because you're the only one out of 12 that are for sale right now that is fully upgraded. People are going to want yours more than theirs, so you can add that money into it. So there's multiple different ways upgrading your home can pay for itself.
Kind of like you're getting paid to upgrade. I like that.
Exactly. That's, and that's the whole name of the game. If I go into a house and it doesn't make sense, I'm like, you guys can buy the windows. I'm just going to tell you right now that your energy savings is not going to be reflected in the cost, Yep.
And that focuses back on the transparency that you really build into your sales process, which is, that's awesome. I want to dig a little deeper. When I introduced you, I was rattling off multiple states. And the reason for that is you do own 3 franchises and you live in a different state to those 3 franchises. But I'd love to know how you got started. You, Madison, Wisconsin, was that where you first got started with LEI? Your first franchise?
No, Cincinnati was where I first got started with LEI. Yeah, Cincinnati is where I started on payroll as, a consulting contractor for them. It was October 2013. I had, like I told you, I was self-taught. Like I just watched and learned my whole way up into the sales management. And at 2013, October, my sales percentage was the highest of the company and nobody trained me. They couldn't figure it out. Yeah. They wanted to start branching out and expanding. And, I was presented with the opportunity to go up to Wisconsin. It would be 1 month on, a week home, 1 month on, a week home. And that sounded all right, But the income potential was much higher than where it was in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was actually not considered a franchise at that time. It was a corporate location up until 2015 or 16. So I was working under corporate. However, they were paying, there's a per diem for training or for traveling, room and board and all that, on top of an elevated commission on the sales, because of the sacrifice I'm making. Then it was a very juicy deal. I liked it.
Nice. We love a bit of juice around here. That's great. And then you sunk your teeth into that juicy location.
So I went up there.
Madison
I
working.
went up there with 3 business partners. They sent 3 people up there with me because it's a hell of a job to try to tackle on your own. I would say next to impossible. Not impossible, but next to. Within the first 6 months, it was down to 2. And then after 8 months, it was just me. I was very fortunate at the time that we had a pretty solid staff hired, and they were all pretty well trained. However, the responsibility and the city all landed on my shoulders at one point in time. There was a lot of family issues going on with my the 2 partners that I went out with. So when they ended up leaving, my position became way, way, way more lucrative.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Way more stressful too, though.
Yeah. And so what happened next?
Well, we, like I said, we had a pretty good, solid staff going. The training process, it took a little bit of a hit because, I mean, I can only be in so many places at one time. So I would say that took a 2-week hit till I figured out the right way to schedule myself. Once we got the scheduling down, we were able to put the right leaders in the right places to make my life easier. And what I ended up having to do is basically, for lack of better words, have these individuals marry me. They were with me almost 24/7. You know, if I went to the bathroom, they went to the bathroom. If I got a coffee, they got a coffee. You know, when I was filling up my tank, they were filling up their tank. And we did that for a good 2 to 3 months until I could sit back and watch them and think, damn, they're doing exactly what I would do in that scenario. Or, wow, they look really stupid doing that. Is that what I look like?
Success leaves clues.
Yep.
And we all shit in the woods together. That's what I picked up out of that.
Yep. But from there, I was actually asked to go down to Louisville, Kentucky, and revamp the corporate location there. Now, that was a completely different beast that I was unprepared for. I look at Louisville, Kentucky, where dreams going to die.
Yeah, right.
At least following the model that we had at the time, and it was a door-knocking model. Louisville is a no-knock city. You get stopped by the police within 5 minutes of knocking on doors. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah,
it just happens so consistently. So it's really, really hard to build a staff when day 3 of training, they all got accosted by the police 3 times, you know?
Dang it. Yeah.
So that was a completely different beast. And that was 2014. And that's actually when I reached out to the other social media marketing company. And
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and got taken for 20 grand without nothing to show for it. That was a gut punch. And that was a 20 grand I wasn't ready to spend, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was sold to me with a return on investment, and it was literally just, here, take my money and see ya.
If you had your time again, how would you avoid that happening? So I think that would be so beneficial to people sort of watching and listening along. Like, how would you vet a marketing company, advertising, lead gen, whatever it is?
That is a very good question. I'm trying to think back to my mentality back then, because everything marketing on Facebook and whatnot was so new.
Yeah.
To me, at least to me. And the only way I imagined I would be able to market on Facebook is if I was as big as, Procter & Gamble or Gillette. Yeah. Well, that's Procter & Gamble. But, Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, because they have the deepest pockets, and those were the only people I saw on social media at the time. So I had the mentality that this situation is not for me because I don't have the financial resources without ever knowing what it costs.
Yeah, right.
I knew that my marketing skills or my ad copy skills were terrible because I tried to do it on my own. I mean, I met you through BFE, with Ryan Stewman.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I went through a bunch of his courses, and there's a creative level that you have to be at that I just wasn't at when it came to ad copy. And, what I thought was a hook, line, and sinker, nobody in the world thought was, because I had nothing to show for it. So I reached out to the group, Sales Talks for Sales. I reached out to that group, and I had an outpouring of social media marketers in my DMs, and
in the DM.
You can vet pretty easily off of just their Facebook page. If their job is social media marketing, getting in front of as many people as they say they can, and they got 39 followers, they probably don't do that good of a job.
They're not doing what they say. Yeah.
But then you find something that has, 5,000 to 10,000 followers. And now this is back in 2014. So the numbers are going to be lower than, they are today. That looks a lot more enticing. But being as naive as I was to the industry, I don't know how I could have avoided it other than know the industry a little bit better. I am a big proponent of learn from your failures, but you don't really grow without them,
that makes sense.
Sucks that it was such a hefty cost.
Yeah.
It would been nice if that failure was, I would have learned the same amount if that was a $3,000 failure versus a $20,000,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's got to sting really bad for that memory or that lesson to stick,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that one stung. However, there are positives that came out of it. I recouped that 20 grand within 3 months because that was money I didn't have. I spent money I didn't have. I borrowed the money, spent it, got no return on investment, had to pay it back, plus some.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? You work your fucking ass off.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, I learned, and this is a very important lesson that I learned, no matter where I am in life, if I need something financially, I can always rely on the fact that I can work hard in anything to make money. As long as I give it my best effort, work hard, I can accomplish just about anything.
That's so powerful. An expensive lesson to learn, but one that, will pay dividends for the rest of your life.
100%.
So fast forwarding a second there, you dropped 20 G's that you didn't have. I think it might have even been more than that. If that was just their cost to you, there might have been ad spend on.
That cost didn't add in ad spend.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it was nearly double.
Pretty
close.
Close.
And I know this because I've seen it. I've been in the account and stuff like that. Then you made a decision to hire a dude halfway across the world. So you've been ripped off.
My editing skills got really good.
Because that might help people along, like whether it's us or someone.
I just started looking at who had the best hair.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like,
and you still picked me. Jeez.
This guy right here has got the best hair.
Yeah. And it's I guess that got your attention a little bit, but is that sort of how you came to the decision to hire myself and our company just for like recommendations and things like that through the vetting process?
I don't know how far along into your company I came in. And what I mean by that is I don't know
right at the start.
Do what?
Right at the start.
That's what I thought. But you made it really simple. You explained it really well. And you had a few different, I guess, models to show me, what you have done in the past or just recently, and those were things. And I do believe I brought up a few times, why I had concern or cold feet or a hard time committing. And, you were pretty relentless though. You didn't let me say no. You were able, and not in an annoying way. You were able to pretty much tackle all of my fears with, I don't want to use the word guarantee, but pretty damn close to a guarantee.
Yeah, I had genuine belief that we could deliver the result you wanted. That's for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because whilst it was the start of the company, sorry, you go.
Yeah, you had confidence in yourself and the product you were selling, and that gave me confidence in you. But you also told me the path to make this the most successful relationship for both you and I. And the key to that was constant communication. Like, hey, man, I don't know what's going on, but this isn't working and these are the issues. What is your suggestion to tackle them, or is there something we should change? Then you would come back like, he gave me a small list of areas or zip codes. Can you give me a bigger list? Do we have a bigger area? Can you give me emails? Can you get me this? And as we fine tuned, it turned into a monster, a lead generating monster.
We love that. Yeah, whilst I think you were one of the first clients that we had, first three. You, Tim Nussbeck and Andrew Ammons and a couple other ones. But I had run...
Tim, golly damn. Tim's one of your customers.
Yeah, he was the first.
I remember hating him for so long.
It's a love-hate. Love-hate.
Well, I love him now. He's not.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that everything he was saying was just to get a rise out of me.
Yeah.
I thought he was being 100% serious. It took me like 2 years to figure that out.
Yeah. You're gonna poke the bear a little.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I guess that's something for people to take away. Whilst the company was new, I'd run tens of thousands of ads at that point in pretty much every market of the US. I had a clear plan that I knew was going to work for Dave because I'd actually already done it, and they were the things I was showing him. I thought if I didn't, I wouldn't have even tried. Like that's me personally. If I don't know I can do something, I won't take it on, and I will already know the end outcome because of experience. So that's something that Dave took away. He gave us an opportunity. We're in a different country, different time zone, already been ripped off, but it was because of genuine belief in the results and the process. So I think that's something that people should look into, whether it's with us or anyone that they're looking to bring on to help them in their business.
I also had the financial resources available versus having to borrow again.
Yeah.
That made it easier too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's good advice too. It becomes so much tougher when let's say you finance it and borrow it. The pressure's really on. So it does need to be within your budget and something you're comfortable with because there's always a risk with anything like this.
Yeah, it's easier to gamble with your own money versus borrowed money.
And that gamble paid off. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely, it did. Time and time
you
and time.
Close at 78%, which is one of the highest closing appointment to sale ratios I've ever seen. Which certainly makes it easy for the marketer. If we can get you the right sort of leads and you do what you do best. But we did have a lot of good wins and great growth. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, year one, you guys added $1 million to my bottom line, to my gross sales. Year two, we doubled that. Year three, we doubled that. Then corporate came in and said we had to use their lead generating whatever programs, and those were a huge.
Yeah.
Back to losing
Which can
another.
Happen, sadly.
Back to losing another 20 grand.
Damn, history repeating.
No kidding. Well, hey.
Yeah.
Look where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Closing 78% of the jobs I get into, man, it's really not that hard. I just don't know how to define the word no.
I like that.
And what I mean by that is, I have an internal definition. It's not the Webster definition, but my internal definition of the word no is I didn't explain the product or put enough value behind it for myself.
Yeah.
The customer's afraid or doesn't think their situation allows them to have this luxury or have this product, or they don't have trust in me. So what I've ended up doing is I really don't sell anybody anything. I let them sell themselves by systematically figuring out what their pain is and how I solve it. What's your pain? How do I solve it? And that's where the honesty comes in too. If there is either no pain point, they think it's a pain point, but it's really not, or their situation doesn't require my products, I'm going to let them know. I'm going to be like, listen, you guys, your house was built 1.5 years ago. You have a draft coming through this window because the caulk line is broken, and I have a feeling they probably didn't tape the exterior of your windows, probably didn't put any caulk on the exterior there. That'll solve your problem, not brand new windows, So instead of spending $10,000 to $20,000, you can spend $15 at Home Depot and do it yourself. You're welcome. If you want to give me $50, I'll come out and do it for you.
Yeah. And then, so you never really stop building value.
No, but those scenarios and situations I can actually use to get a referral. A lot of the 70 or the 22% that I don't sell, they were either just curious about what the cost is, or they're lonely and wanted to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't brush those off. I run those full board just like I would with any other appointment, even though I know at the beginning this is not going to sell. However, at the end, I'm going to get 1 to 2 referrals out of them that will. So I will get a sale out of that appointment, one way or another.
Yeah.
And all I got to do is
let's go back
there and make friends with them,
I want to focus just quickly on what you do when a lead comes in, because I know personally, after generating all the leads we have and then seeing you handle them firsthand, not everyone follows up the same. And, people are quite quick to say the leads suck when it might not be the case. So I'd love to hear about what your process is specifically for that.
Well, I just pulled up my spreadsheet here. It's Matt Smith leads. So on my spreadsheet, what I do, once a lead comes in, the first thing I do is give them a call. If they don't answer, I will leave them a voicemail. I will then send them a text message. If they don't answer, I will wait a day. I will call, send a text message. I do this 3 days. On day 3, if I haven't gotten a hold of them, what I then do is I will put their phone number or their email address into Google and find them. I will get a close enough description of where they live, what neighborhood they're in, what have you. If Google won't tell me, Facebook will.
Yeah.
This is all free. I don't pay for any of that. I'm not doing like a ground check finder or whatever. And then from there, I write down, at least if I don't have their address, I will write down their neighborhood. And, right now I don't really canvas, but if I'm in that area, I'm going to drop a flyer in their mailbox on their door, because I know there was at least enough interest in replacing their products to at least fill out a lead. The interest is there. Now I just have to get in front of them. How do I get in front of them? I'm relentless about it. I will get in front of them one way or another.
Yeah.
I can't, which is a very, I would say 10% I don't get in front of. I don't talk to, or I don't, ever figure out their address.
That connection.
And that's fine. 10%, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
But no, the leads, they're not shit. How you work the leads is your process behind. Now, I am a very, very, very busy person. So to sit there when I get 12 leads come in and I have to track 5 of them, that does take a little bit of time. However, I would say for 5 people, it probably takes me 15 minutes. That's a morning poo and an evening poo. I can do that on the toilet,
Efficiency.
Exactly. What the hell else am I going to be doing?
Yeah.
If I were to look at my phone and break down how much time am I actually on Facebook? All right, well, I'm cutting 15 minutes off of that. If Facebook's not making me any money.
That's right.
And then areas that I give you, I have appointments throughout all these areas. So I'm going to be in that neighborhood eventually. I will get in front of them.
Yeah.
And I will talk to them. And at that point, they're just thinking one of 2 things. They're thinking, well, that online form I filled out is a scam, or this is too good to be true and my situation won't allow it. So when I show up and I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm Dave from LEI Home Enhancements. I just wanted to hand you a little bit of information. We're running a little promotion here. I only knock one door. I'm not canvassing a whole area, because I know the interest right there behind that door. And now I've systematically gotten rid of their 2 fears. One, their situation may allow it. I don't know their situation yet, but I have given them a little bit of hope that it does. And 2, everything that I'm handing them at their door, face to face, is the same thing they filled out on Elite or online.
Yeah.
So it legitimizes.
That's amazing. That's such a nugget to share. Yeah.
Yeah, it legitimizes everything. Yeah. Nothing in life is free, and you're not going to get anything without having to work for it. Just the mere fact that they're in my inbox means that there is a slight desire for new window siding, roof, doors, deck, whatever. There is a desire.
Yep.
However, somewhere between clicking submit and my text message within 30 seconds, they got cold feet.
There we go.
You know, the cold feet, they're easy to get over, but it's really hard to tell someone no face to face too.
Absolutely.
So we figure it out from there. And that's where I come in and say, hey, look, you know, your situation you don't need windows. You just need to seal them up, you know, or, hey man, not only are these windows going to pay for themselves when your energy costs, they're going to pay for themselves when you sell your home, and they're going to pay for themselves with your home getting off the market that much quicker. So you're getting paid 3 times for putting windows in once. Plus, you know, they're back for 50 years. You're good. You'll never have to do it again.
I love that. It's making sense why you close at 78%, I mean. But that relentless pursuit of the lead, I love that.
Yeah.
That's something I've never really talked about. So I'm really appreciative you sharing it.
I kind of wish that I could say that I came up with this process, but it was actually my rep up in Wisconsin who did.
Nice.
And he'll go through even more than, you know, just 3 calls and 3 texts. He'll put them on the back burner for a month and then come back if they're, you know, the flyer and or didn't work, or talk to them in person didn't work. He'll come back. He's got their email. He throws out an email, mass email shoot or whatever that's called. Can't remember. Just a mass email, but he'll also call them up, text them, call them up, text them 3 more times the next month until they tell him to stop.
That's right. Yeah.
And then that's
what's needed to win in this market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's relentless pursuit, but it has a positive end game for both.
Exactly.
You know, we get a sale, they make their money back 3 times.
Yeah. It's a win-win outcome. I love that. What's a question I should have asked you but didn't?
Oh, I got a couple. You sent me these questions, so I typed out this one. How do I have such a beard? You know, well, I'm gonna tell you, I was born with it.
That's a good question.
You know, you're gonna have to ask my mom. Yeah, I came out with this beautiful beard. It just
born beautiful. I love that.
You know, one thing I have on here is, you know, what does it take to start up a multi-state home improvement company or franchise?
Yeah.
You have to be prepared.
I'd love to know that.
You have to be prepared to make some huge sacrifices for your family. And your family has got to also understand, and this is where transparency comes in. You know, before coming down here to Tennessee, January 1st, I sat down with my kids for the whole month of December and explained to them at least once a week things that are going to be different, how they can deal with it, things that are going to happen in their behavior that is going to be considered unacceptable around the house, you know. But there's also, we use positive reinforcement on a lot. If you guys can, you know, help out, do this, do that, here's money, here's a toy, you earned it. However, if you back on it next month and you're not helping out, not only is that toy gone, but 2 others are gone too. Or that money is back in my pocket, your cell phone's turned off. But, you know, when, I think it was 2015, my wife had come to me and this was when I was traveling between Cincinnati, Wisconsin, and Louisville. She's like, you know, I feel like I never see you anymore. And I told her, I said, you know, you want a new house, you want more kids, you want a nice car. I understand all these things. But if you want these things, it means I have to be busy, at least for now. So the sacrifices we make in the setup will give us all the time down the road. And I promise you, I will spend all that time with you. However, if you want a productive man, you have to be able to deal with a busy man. And, you know, she's always used the term that whenever we need money, you're able to find it one way or another. And I always tell her back, I'm like, look, I don't find money. You know, there was a time, I can't remember what happened. One of our cars broke down. It was out of warranty. It was like a $5,500 repair. Her credit was shit. My credit was shit. So we weren't able to get a loan on it. And I looked at her. I was like, all right, give me at least 48 hours. I will have this money. And within 48 hours, I had that money. And this has happened numerous times in our relationship. And she's like, you just have this uncanny ability to find money. Well, that goes back to work ethic. And solidifying what I was saying earlier, I know deep down in my heart that I can outwork anybody and I can earn. I just have to find the right opportunity. And I don't usually say no to opportunity, even if it doesn't say if it's a stupid opportunity, you know, like go jump in this Shark Tank for, you know, $50. No, but I'll, when it comes to not really get rich quick schemes, but making money and it makes sense, it just takes hard work and it a lot of people notice that and won't do it because they don't want to put in the effort. I will not only put in the effort, but I'll put in double so I can make it happen faster. I will hyper fixate on one thing and get it done. You know, the other thing I was getting at with the family is staying positive. I was fortunately born with a very sunny disposition. I am able to find the good in every bad situation. For example, like I was telling you with the one company that took 20 grand from me, I learned a $20,000 lesson that is, like you said, paying dividends over and over and over and over again. So did I really lose 20 grand, or did I just not get what I paid for, but instead I got something else and something better?
Yeah.
You know, and that's also one of the reasons I won't say who these people are or who these companies are, because I'm not in the game of trashing people, you know, and I did get something out of it.
Turning that loss into a lesson.
Yeah.
Love that.
And like, paying the dividends.
Absolutely. And I guess that's what it's all about too. You get what you focus on, and if all you did was focus on the bad, that's probably what would keep happening, hey?
Well, yeah, law of attraction, man. If you think negative, act negative, negative things are bound to hit you in the face. But if you think positive, act positive, you're able to sidestep a lot of the negativity. And, you know, you're looking at these opportunities. If you're not jumping on just about every opportunity, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah, not all of them are going to pan out, but a lot of them will. And that's why you see people with, you know, 3 restaurant franchises, 2 home improvement franchises, their own embroidery company. They had opportunities that popped up.
Yeah.
May have been the right time, may not have been the right time. They jumped on them, you know? And then you have the person next to us looking at them saying, must be nice. My least favorite phrase out there, must be nice, really takes out all the hard work that I put in and just makes everybody think that it was given to me, and it wasn't. You know, it's not all sunshine and rainbow. You know, it's more like a hurricane.
Must be nice. Yeah.
You know, you got to sift through a lot of shit, and then you see a little inkling of sun, and you're like, all right, there's my hope, and then more shit, and then bam, it's a sunny day. However, you're in the eye of the hurricane. You're not through the hurricane. You got to go through the next wall of the hurricane to get to the real sunny day. So you got to be able to really sift through the shit to get to a bright and positive future. However, how many hurricanes do we have a year? 5, 7, 10, you know? You're going to have more, but that's more or less you're leveling up. Your next hurricane is going to be much worse than this hurricane, but you're much better prepared for it because of this hurricane.
Dave, where can people find you, mate? How can they connect with you?
Oh, I'm just about everywhere. You know, you can find me on social media. You know, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. I'm still on MySpace. Physically, you can find me right now. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I reside up in Cincinnati, Ohio. You can catch me in Wisconsin. You can catch me in Atlanta. Those are all my locations. Down the road, you may be able to catch me nationwide. Who knows? Those are the plans.
Beautiful. People search for Dave Martin on Facebook. They'll be able to find you no matter which state you're in.
Name. It's such an uncommon name, and you're going to have like 3 people show up. You can also search my alter ego on Facebook, which is Rupert Martinez. That's just the account I use every time I go to Facebook prison for spreading the truth.
Which is often. Well, Dad, you've been fantastic, mate. Thank you so much for sharing some time.
Absolutely.
And for everyone at home, look out for the next episode. Any final words, Dave?
You know, go out there and kick ass. You know, if anything, just work your ass off. Work harder than anybody else, and you're bound to get it. You know, it's going to click eventually. Don't give up.
Awesome. That's a great note to finish on. Thank you so much, my man, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Sounds good, man.